Moving on to Better Days, one of the singles.
This was one of my favorite. Well, when you sent it to
I
me,
know, it's really, yeah, I do really like it.
I think it being the single makes me appreciate it less in the sense that
yeah, you kind of forgot about it when the album came out.
No,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. But you also remember it starts with that piano, and that is the same motif from the very beginning of the album. That anesthesia thing to this, but it's just on piano now. So once again, it's in the key of F, going from feel it F to this F. Better Days itself is not an F, so I just needed a way to bridge that. But I thought it was cool to like reintroduce that motif of like now you're in a relationship. So the motif originally was getting out of a relationship, and it sounded different, but now it's getting into a relationship, and it's more like natural and a piano, obviously. But then it goes into a pretty simply produced song, just a guitar and bass for the most part, a little bit of tambourine and stuff. But I do really like this one. And I do, going back to what I said is like, so I was really thinking, I was like, this album's about these two people, they're in a relationship. So I'm like, obviously they're going to talk about like previous parts of their relationship. So I have a line in there that says like, in the sun or something, and to reference the morning sun that happened. Yeah, a few songs earlier. And I did a little stuff like that throughout the whole album. I'm trying to point them out if I remember. But other than that, once again, song structure, you have a clearly defined like hook part and verse part. Then we have a C section. I always see this.
Wait a minute.
We have a C section that features some other vocals in there in the background.
Oh, that's crazy.
I had to get some. I decided.
I forgot about that.
I know.
I'm not gonna lie to you because that was a while.
But that was one of my favorite parts on the album. That like vocal kind of explosion towards the end, and you were featured in it.
That's true.
Because I was like, hey, give me a couple. I need you to say this line. And you were like, all right.
Oh.
And then I also had you clapping.
That's true. You also had other people clapping.
Yes, I had you, me, and someone else clapping. We each did 10 takes. Like, how much was it? 4 times that I had you? Like.
No, it was 10, no?
10. Oh, yeah, there's 3 of us in my bed.
Yeah.
10 takes, 3 times. I did a lot more than that, though. But a lot of claps.
You just blatantly lied to the camera, dog. You said 10 times each. Actually, never mind.
I did more. I did more. But you will know if you tried recording claps, just your own, and you'll be like, it sounds off. Because going back to what timbre is, like how things sound, the timbre of your clap is like specific to you. And yeah, you could change it by like moving your hands in different speeds and stuff. But in order to get a real authentic clap sound, you need other people. And actually in the end, which I think is kind of funny, I pitched all of our claps down a whole octave. So I didn't even use like our actual clapping sounds. I used a modded version of that. But that is one of my favorite like singular parts on the album is that like expanse at the end. I thought it was really, really well. Had a lot of instrumentation, like hidden instrumentation that you don't really notice until a lot of takes. And then you finally breathe back down to the ending, which I love the ending too, the way it just kind of cuts off short.
The use of not overusing anything. I feel like everything kind of does what its thing and gets out instead of overstaying its welcome. 1000%. And that goes from everything from sections of the songs to like instruments and stuff. I really had to look in the mirror for this album and be like, are you adding this just to add it, or are you adding it because it has a reason for it? And that's something that I didn't realize I struggled with it until I really took a step back. Like, I used to always be like, I need a song that's over 5 minutes on every one of my albums. Like, I just need a long song. And then I was finally just like, don't. If a song naturally gets to 5 minutes, all right, perfect. But don't force a song to get to 5 minutes. And that's something I did with this. And you're absolutely correct. Like, I recorded a couple more instruments. I was like, maybe I need this hand drum on one track or this tambourine. And I was like, it just doesn't really fit. So I had it off. Like, and I recorded like a lot of takes of it. And in the end, I was just like, it doesn't need it, so don't force it. But yeah, it's good that you picked up on that. That's definitely something I had to do for this album. Really like come to terms with, is this good or am I just trying to force it? I've said this a lot already, but this one is really, I don't have a favorite song. I have like probably like a group of 5, and this one's definitely at the front of the pack. Black Cherry. I just really love it. It's once again song structure, really good, really well produced. I don't get bored with it. I love the beginning, like, vinyl crackle sound into that explosion. And this one is on the same vein as Honey, of just physical attraction between these two people. And I do say Honey in it, because the song Honey is basically just two people, like, how you doing, honey? I'm doing good, love, and blah, blah, blah. And those
pet names that people call each other. And I reference it again in Black Cherry, and I just thought that was funny because they have a similar thing. But this song
is better the second time you made it. The first
yes, I had to remake it. I had it one way, recorded it. I was satisfied with it, but I was like, it could be better, but I just didn't know how to make it better. And I was like, the album date's coming close. I announced the album, and then that night, I'm like, yeah, I need to redo this entire song. So basically, I changed the key it was in. I brought it up a little bit. I re-recorded everything, and I added in some more sections. And I feel like it's so much better off the newer version than the older version was. It just hits so much better. And then that guitar solo at the end is another interesting point. I didn't use a pick for that. I used my fingers. I usually pick with the guitar, but I just needed the intonations and stuff of my fingers. And there's a lot of what's called pinch harmonics in that. And I just wanted to do a song that had pinch harmonics with it. And I thought this song, I was like, it could use it. But yeah, I basically, I changed this like 2 weeks out from the album. I re-recorded the whole thing, remixed it obviously, and came out really, really good. Like I said, one of the stronger songs on the albums, and definitely top 3 for me on the album.
I agree. Like I said, I really think because you did it so close, I felt like it came out naturally versus the other one.
Another thing I love about this is like that soda can pop like halfway through the song.
That's in this song?
That's in this song, yeah.
Shit, my fault.
Bridging 2 of the sections is like that soda can pop. And that was me actually popping that. But the whole time when I made I've Been Feeling, just going ahead a little bit, I made this reverb like preset, and it sounded like a soda can opening, if you remember that.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, it'd be kind of good to add somewhere in it. So I did that, and this reverb preset really like emphasized that. But I thought that was fun. And Black Cherry, I was like, that's kind of a soda flavor. So I was like, let's just lean into that.
Flavor.
This song, also in the key of F, once again, we're going back there. We lost it for a couple songs right back. The beginning, like, melody to this, to me, is the album. Like, if I had to pick a melody for the album, it's that right there. And this is the first time in the album that you start to see a little bit of disruption in this relationship that you have, because no relationship's perfect, and obviously I had to represent that on the album. So it starts off, you come from Black Cherry, which is very like wow, 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 right at the end, to like this really soft piano reverb wash, and you're just like, okay, what's going on? And I just love that beginning thing, and once again, very simple song. And this one, the chorus is Even Wildflowers Need the Rain, talking about how you do need bad times. It's impossible, right? Mm-hmm. There's that saying, without dark you wouldn't have light, and that's true, right? If you only had good times, you wouldn't know
dull.
how good they were,
yeah,
until you had those bad times. And that's what it's about. It's just the start of the bad times, right? It's like still like kind of like, okay, we're still all right. It's just a little things that could be worked on. And I had a lot of fun making this song. Once again, kind of vocally intensive. I had to do a lot of takes to get this right. I really like the chord progression, though. It is really simple, and I think what drives it is the chord progression. And then obviously you have that the cello at the end, which really was like the icing on top. I had that big space. I was like, I could add a guitar solo in, but I'm like, I'm really hearing like a string instrument on this. And I paid like $60 for like 6 takes of the cello, and it came out so good. That's not a lot. $10 a take.
Yeah.
Like that's not that much
for a section of your album.
Yeah, and it came out so well, and it really just made the song. What's next? Bumblebee. All right. No, I don't mean it like.
Bumblebee,
basically
the song.
No, I say that,
and then it's over.
I say that because this was one of the songs that I did in like a night. It wasn't very intensive. It is very simple, and it was one of the earlier songs I did, so I did forget about it. Like a little bit when I was making the album, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about this song. But I do really like it. One thing that I especially like is that timbre of the guitar in the beginning. It sounds like tinny. Sounds like you kind of like recorded it on like an old radio or something, but I just love it.
I'm not sure exactly what it was about the song, but on like right away on streaming, it was like.
Yeah, I don't know what it.
Like it's not a single. Like,
no, I don't.
What I mean?
Yeah, but people just seem to like that one. But yeah, that was a weird one. But I did have fun making it. Once again, this song is you're seeing the cracks in this relationship more. Like, it's supposed to be, the whole point of this song is two people at a beach, and one of them is just not happy to be there, and the other one's trying to make the best out of it, and it looks like it's going to rain, right? That's the whole point. The rain couldn't keep us away. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of where a little bit of personal me came out. I don't like going to the beach too much. Like, I feel like a lot of times I go to the beach, and it's like, let's just sit here for 5 hours, and it's like, that's not me. I like to do stuff. I don't dislike the beach, but like I need to do stuff. But that's what this song is about. Those two people talking again, but this time it's more argumentative. And it's displayed in kind of a lighter way though, which I really liked. And this song, obviously it's called Bumblebee. The word does not appear anywhere in the song. When I make an album, like literally like one of the first things I did was get the artwork ready. And you know this. I have the artwork done. So like years before I even have the album, sometimes even conceptualized, I have the artwork done, and that's just how I work. I use a visual aid to be like, this is what I'm working for. I have Synthesasia, wherever it's called, you know.
Remember I was talking about that?
Yeah,
What is it?
Synthesia.
Yeah, Synthesia.
Synthesia.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You can taste colors and see sounds.
Yeah. So yeah.
Do you
the
have
strain
No, my buddy does.
the strain that I have
The strain.
is
Zaza.
I see colors when I hear sounds and stuff like that. And it's kind of
Do you remember when I said in that text group the song sounded green?
Oh,
Yeah.
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 You don't
That's
have it,
exactly it. But I guess it's kind of poetic that I have that, right? Like, oh, I'm a musician and I'm very artistically inclined. But with that, I could kind of reverse engineer it where it's like, I get the album cover and it's like, all right, now make songs that fit this vibe. And it's like, to people who don't have it, the way I could explain it is...
I don't have it, so explain it.
Perfect. You ever seen Ratatouille?
You know what's crazy?
You know what I'm going to say.
You know what's insane? Raphael has it, and I found out he
does
said
have
the
it.
exact same thing to me. He said, have you ever seen Ratatouille? And
You
I'm
know
like,
when he's trying the cheese and he sees like those like blimps of color? Sometimes it is very, very close to that. And it's very well described in that movie where it's like very basic songs, I'll see one color. And then some songs I'll have like a multitude of colors and stuff. This song in particular, Bumblebee, I'm going way off topic here, but it was more blue to me, but it did have those yellows in there, which is the album cover. But sometimes it will be so like deep that I do get full like pictures of like, this is what I'm seeing. And that helps a lot in developing an album cover. But I work best developing a cover and then having a visual goal because of that. But anyway, I developed the album cover for Oh Lover very early. You know this. But I also like mocked up the artwork for what the CD would look like and stuff like that. And on the back, I had the track list. And at this point, there was like 3 songs that I had maybe.
Insert a picture of the thing that we can't find.
So I needed to fill up the space on there. So I was like, instead of just typing random words, I'm actually going to try and name some songs. And a lot of song titles I got from just sitting there and trying to aesthetically name songs that would be on the album. And Bumblebee was one of them. And then I just had to fit. Wildflower was another one. I think Black Cherry might have been. I was like, it did lend itself to a pretty good song. And obviously, Bumblebee's not used in there. The only reason why I attached this song to Bumblebee is the song is in triple meter. It's like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And that felt like how Bumblebee would fly to me. And also Bumblebee is 3 syllables. So Bumblebee, Bumblebee,
3 letters.
Bumblebee.
B.
Yeah, I guess.
B.
But it just lent itself to that. And I also had Honey on there and Wildflower. And I was like I said, aesthetically, I was like, they all kind of fit together.
That didn't even click for me. That's crazy.
There you go. So I was like, once again, bringing that familiarity. For a song that I don't really like, we did talk about it. You don't
even like this song?
I
and
do
it's
like
doing
it. I'm
great.
not saying I didn't say it. But yes, that did
the
really
ground.
help with this album a lot. Having that photo to go with, and I put a photo of it in the studio. I had that longer version of the album cover in the studio on the piano for a while. So when I'm making songs, I could kind of reference this, like, does this fit? Hey, you don't always love it's like now, like, because I'm working on stuff now, and it's like, I'm kind of past this. And it's so funny that people are like, the album just came out, it's so good. And it's like, I've done like a complete 180 in sound, and I'm just like, yes. Like, yeah, it sure was good. No. But it's just one of those things. Like, I do really like this album, but I am growing past it since I'm making new stuff. Love, Hate. This one is kind of the most, like, I put myself into this track. Like, I really put myself into this song, a lot of my personal experiences and stuff. And I like the way that it feels. It is very, from the title alone, it's very A versus B. It's very, has a lot of contrast in it. And the song does that itself. You have that like fast rock part into the very slow piano part. The more I listen to it, like I like it. I really like the song, and I'm like, it keeps me interested in stuff like that. But then I'm just like,
that's an interesting thing you mentioned, because like what dictates how much you like or dislike an album, because if some songs, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
for me personally, I know it may not seem like it. Yeah. There's not a single song on here that I dislike.
Oh, no, that's not what I'm saying.
Like no. I'm just saying to me that's like what makes a good album, and a majority of them I like. Mm-hmm. There's some albums that I'm like, every single song not a bad song, but then there's like some artists, and it's just like it's happened a lot like back in the 60s and 70s when anyone could just record, like they needed to record a full LP because a vinyl has so much space and use the space if you got a record deal. And I feel like so many bands have like 2 really good songs and then the rest is absolute garbage. It's like, guys, why couldn't you just do that again? But we're getting off topic. But anyway, good album. I like some contrast, but it still feels like an album. And I feel like this album does that. Like at the end, you're like, all those songs did belong together. The first song that I had completely done, reflected in the fact that it is the first single. I came up with that organ sound, that like motif in my music class actually on the computer. Kind of like was just doing stuff, and I was like,
are you good?
I was recording on a DAW that I didn't have access to, so I was like, record this, get it down, and then we'll do it back at home. Then I did it, found the organ sound that I like. It's like 4 different organ sounds compiled into one MIDI file, so that's why it sounds so like very airy and just like kind of like you're far away from the sound. I do really like it. My favorite part of it is that beginning section, you know, I've been feeling blue, and then the blue goes back and forth. It was very, since it was the first song finished, I've listened to it so many times and I don't go back to it a lot, but when I do, I'm like, it's still really good. Like I really love that beginning like smack, because it starts with that percussive like, remember? And then it goes into the barely any time to recover from that and straight into the I've Been Feeling.
There was you finished I've Been Feeling, you released a single.
Yeah, and then it was
a
like,
space of time.
Where do I go from here?
Did you feel like it's still? Did you feel like you had to match what you did there, or did you feel like you had it all planned out? You just did that super early. Like how did that like?
Yeah, I had a pretty good. Like I said, I usually I have the artwork done ahead of time. I usually have an album concept done like 4 albums in advance. You know this. I'm always coming up with new album concepts. But yeah, I had the idea for this album, came up with the song. I was like, it's really good. Made it as a single. I kind of made it like okay, this is going to be a single for the album. So I made it that way. But I made it so long ago that there's a lot of stuff to it that I don't like. And one of them being that like once again I made it like 4 minutes long just because I wanted to. And in the end when I'm listening to it, I'm like, it doesn't need to be that long.
That's
and, like,
actually... Sorry.
And like I released it as a single and I was kind of bound into it. If I were to redo it, I would just take that solo out at the end. Like I just wanted a solo in there just to have a solo, but don't do that, you know?
One thing I will say is, though, I still don't feel like it's too long of a song, because I feel like
it's not too long, but it
yeah.
It had stuff in there that it did not need. And I just was like, I didn't know at that point. I was like, edit, because I need a solo. I need to show that I know how to play guitar. It was like the ego again. Like, I need a solo in this. Oh, I did spatial audio that. Never again. Big headache. I don't have the right equipment to do that. But I did do it. It did come out really good.
No, that's what I'm saying.
But it just sounds so clean. And that was a big surprise that it was one of the earlier songs that it came out mixed so well. Usually you get exponentially better with the mixing, but it came out good.
Just for context, anyone watching this, so the cameraman, Alex, went into the booth
to open up a Chips Ahoy.
Yeah. So he can eat it.
Yeah, so he doesn't get it on camera.
Meanwhile, it wouldn't have mattered.
Nah. But narratively, pretty self-explanatory. This is referenced in the music video. This is like the sit down, like, hey, we're having problems, like, we need to fix these, right? Or we need to do something about it. It doesn't have to. You don't have to fix them, right? But I was just saying, I'm not feeling, and it's not an argumentative thing. It's I'm feeling sad, and I think that's like kind of telling in a relationship where you're not saying like something's wrong and like we need to do something. It's just like I'm not feeling like I know I'm not feeling how I'm supposed to be feeling in this, and it's like we need to do something.
No, he's gonna say the track title. He's so close. He's inching toward it, man.
I've been feeling.
Is the song blue to you?
Yeah, this was the good thing you said that. This was like the one song that kind of strayed furthest from that mental image in my head of the album cover. To me, I was like, it has such a blue tone. I'm like, it's the first single I made, and I was like, it just strays so far from that yellow.